This is my brutally honest review of The Sims 4 Bowling Night stuff. This is a part of a series where I review every pack for The Sims 4, including all of the older ones. According to EA, Bowling Night stuff lets you build a bowling hangout. Take your Sims bowling in striking new fashion. Taking a look at Create a Sim mode, everything here is basically bowling alley stuff. Like if you set up your own bowling team, then it's like bowling team uniform stuff. I actually think the vibe of the cast suits the pack really well. I wouldn't say it's pretty stuff that I personally would use myself, but if you specifically want to make a bowling team in the game, then the cast here definitely suits that. Like it's fit for purpose. There's 2 tops and a pair of shoes for kids, but the rest of it is for adults, and there is a male and female imbalance as per usual, but I think the jeans for both Sims are probably the nicest skinny jeans in the game. It's not stuff your Sims are going to wear outside of bowling itself. Even so, if you're casually going bowling with friends in real life, I feel like you wouldn't wear a bowling uniform. Like you just go bowling in your normal clothes. So I feel like the cast here is a little bit unnecessary. I mean, the whole pack is unnecessary, but at the end of the day, I do think it suits the theme of the pack very well. My only issues are just the lack of stuff, especially for male Sims and child Sims. Create a Sim mode for Bowling Night stuff is okay. It gets a 7 out of 10. So for build mode, just like with cast, everything fits the theme very well. Of course, it's just about building a bowling alley, and you definitely can do that with the stuff that's there. There isn't actually a bowling alley lot type, so instead you must just place alleys to either a bar or a lounge or a nightclub, and as long as you have at least 2 lanes on the lot, then NPC bowling Sims will spawn. The pack comes with 1 pre-made alley that's meant to fit in Oasis Springs, and it's not very pretty. I guess it's okay for the gameplay, but I feel like it could have been a lot better if I'm being honest. In general though, I actually think there's enough stuff here to create a bowling alley. It doesn't feel like there's loads of stuff, and it's better to have a few other packs in order to make a great looking alley, but in general, I feel like the stuff in build mode here is relatively balanced considering it's a stuff pack. I don't really have any major criticisms of build mode, only just the fact that I feel like there could have been a little bit more decorative stuff and a couple more pre-made builds. It gets an 8 out of 10. So looking at the gameplay, Bowling Night stuff comes with 1 gameplay object, which is a bowling lane. Other than that, it comes with a new style of music for the radio called New Disco. Bowling in The Sims 4 isn't the most riveting thing I've ever done, to be honest. You can have your Sims bowl solo or invite up to 3 other Sims to bowl with you, or you can join pre-existing bowling games or just watch other people bowl. I would say bowling in The Sims 4 is very awkward. In The Sims 2, Sims were coded to sit down and chat between turns, but in The Sims 4, of course, they're not coded to do anything. They just kind of stand there awkwardly in animation lag, waiting for the simulation to unclog itself before they perform a bowling animation, and then after the bowling animation, they all just stand there idly together. It's very awkward. Bowling is a minor skill which goes up to level 5. I would say it actually gains quite slowly, so you will need to do a lot of bowling in order to reach level 5. If you get 10 strikes in a row, you unlock a special llama trophy to put in your Sims houses. And of course, as The Sims 4 is a mootlet simulator, you can expect a ton of extremely unimpactful mootlets which happen when you're bowling. A revolutionary gameplay concept where your Sims will have an emotional label to create the illusion that they have an emotion, whereas in reality, these mootlets have absolutely no impact on your gameplay. As such, Bowling Night doesn't really add that much to the game. It's hard for me to understand why it was made its own separate stuff pack, as the gameplay just isn't there. Also, it feels really necessary to own the Sims 4 Get Together, because that's how you make clubs, and you can set the Bowling Night cast to the club uniform, and you can set a bowling alley as your club hangout spot. I just feel like you require Get Together in order to actually make this pack feel even remotely fun. I mean, really, it should have just been a part of Get Together, but it wasn't. I'm really disappointed that bowling has been upsold as its own isolated pack, as in previous Sims games, bowling was just a very small feature in much broader expansion packs. Seeming they decided to give bowling its own dedicated pack in The Sims 4, I expected a lot more, but in certain ways, we actually got less, especially when compared to bowling in The Sims 2. If EA want to isolate minor gameplay concepts into smaller packs, then I expect them to include more gameplay gameplay to compensate for the extra money that they want. But in this case, they just didn't do that at all. To be constructive and fair to EA, if they care about making their games good, which they don't, but let's be hypothetical. If they wanted to make bowling its own separate isolated pack and wanted to give it a lot more depth in order to justify the price point of that, I recommend instead turning it into an overall arcade pack where it comes with not only a bowling alley, but also other general arcade machines. It could even come with the ability to earn tickets or tokens, and then you exchange them for prizes. Like, I believe we had that in The Sims 1 and maybe The Sims 3. They also could have included an entry fee to certain lots like we had in The Sims 2, the Open for Business expansion pack, where you had a ticket booth and you had to pay to enter lots. Maybe there could have been a system of paying to enter a community lot and you have to pay to go bowling, and that would give the pack more broader appeal because it could have a wider crossover with The Sims 4 Get to Work and owning a booth system business or something. For some extra criticism, I really think they should have made a bowling lot type, because if it was its own special lot type, they could have included a lot more gameplay. For example, bowling competitions where you can sign up and you can compete against another group, and depending on what place you come, you may get a trophy and you may get a simoleon award, and there could be cross-pack play with Get Famous where you get fame if you come first, second or third. There could have been a special bowling event type, like a bowling date where you and your date go bowling together, because in The Sims 4 right now, when you go on dates, you have the missions. It would have been nice to have a date mission that related to actually going bowling, and just in general have a lot more going on. Like in between bowls, have Sims sit down and chat with each other and have fun. The Sims 4 loves to brag about multitasking. Sims in The Sims 4 are smarter than ever because they can multitask. Where bowling's concerned, they can't multitask at all. They can't talk to each other between rounds. They can't have a drink and sit down between rounds. There's absolutely no multitasking going on. I feel like the whole thing could have been coded a lot better, and I just feel like they could have done a lot more to give us a more premium experience, if that's constructive enough for them. Really, bowling should have just been included in an expansion pack like Get Together, as bowling was in The Sims 2 and The Sims 3, but of course they decided to give it its own dedicated pack without dedication to giving us good gameplay. The Sims 4 bowling night stuff does not feel like a premium experience. Instead, it just feels very lazy, exploitive, and cash grabby. The amount of money it costs to get the bowling pack in The Sims 4, you could probably spend the same money on going bowling in real life, and it's a lot more fun, so I recommend doing that instead. I'm giving this pack a 3 out of 10 for the gameplay. So in total, bowling night stuff gets a 6 out of 10 as an average score. If you found this review useful, you might also enjoy one of the next 2 reviews recommended here. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next one.